Lockdown football has separated clubs from their fans, but the pandemic has also given those clubs the opportunity to strengthen their place in the community. Step forward, Brighton and Hove Albion.
In the first lockdown, obviously when football stopped, we had many conversations as players and with me and Glenn Murray with the club. And yeah, we took a step back and saw our fortunate position we were in, and we wanted to give something back. So Glenn spoke to Paul Barber and we set up Albion as one to give back to the community around us.
So we ended up with this, pretty large amount of money, which then meant that we could go out to a large number of charities across this area and provide them with some support at a time when fundraising was difficult to come by. I think initially it was about trying to make sure that people had food on the table for their kids. So a lot of the underprivileged families in this part of the world were struggling, and we had a lot of food initially in the stadium that we were clearly not going to sell. We were also able to link up with some local restaurants and act as a distribution outlet through our community scheme for those restaurants that had a lot of food. I think we also then started to look at those charities that were not going to be getting funding during the pandemic, or at least would see their fundraising drop. And that covered everything really, from sort of domestic abuse, which we sensed with a lockdown could go up, right the way through to mental health charities with people struggling with lockdown, and then of course ultimately grief charities where people were beginning to lose loved ones and needed support.
The most recent one was donating laptops to help homeschooling and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the most recent one, and I'm a dad myself, so I know how hard homeschooling can be. So to give technology to kids, give them the extra help they need to keep learning at this difficult time, it's a good thing for the charity to be doing.
There's nothing like experience to tell you what things like homeschooling and the rest of it is like. Has it been a tough slog for you?
Yeah, on the days off, I'd rather be in the training ground at the moment than being at home homeschooling. Yeah, when the gaffer tells you got a day off, I'm like, you sure you don't want me in?
Albion as one has raised almost £400,000, but the work has not stopped there. The stadium car park is a COVID testing site, and the recent vaccine rollout needed immediate help.
The biggest challenge was the number of people that could actually administer the vaccine. So once again, the stadium not really being used for the majority of the time, we were able to provide rooms here for St John Ambulance to train people, and it's worked out really well.
So we've now got 4 training rooms here every day of every weekend, unless there's a home match. Today we're training 120 people. So it's a game changer for us, as it's 4 times the number of people that we can train every single day, which just means that those people can get out so much faster to help the NHS to vaccinate the nation.
You're coping with this latest lockdown?
Coping, yes, we're coping, yeah, we're doing the same thing every time.
Perhaps most profoundly of all has been the way the club has addressed the isolation of this pandemic. Staff have made countless calls to fans checking on their mental well-being.
It's been pretty humbling, to be honest, to make those calls. I think they've been, quite varied, from the older people that were just very lonely and appreciated the call because they were so isolated, right the way through to the people that were just simply struggling to get by and just needed someone to say, this wasn't going to last forever, and don't forget you've got the football on TV, and, hopefully we'll soon be back in the stadium. So I think it was about just giving messages of support and at times sort of hope, and at other times just chatting to people. There were some people that just wanted to stay on the phone for half an hour and tell you everything about their lives, and that's fine as well. That was all part of the process and the purpose of the calls.
I think he's been a great role model throughout this pandemic for the club and for the community around it. The things he's been doing, the things he's been saying has been amazing. It's
been a tough time for everyone, and in a way football has been allowed to carry on playing, so we've benefited slightly from that, all of us, because we've been able to carry on our work, but a lot of other people have not fared so well.
And at Brighton, the supporters, the local community and the strength of those bonds have never been taken for granted.